Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Mir Nazmul Islam. For the last 2 decades, I've had the pleasure of working in a field I'm incredibly passionate about, helping organizations use logic models to develop effective programs and policies. I know what you might be thinking. Logic model sounds a bit serious, maybe even a little boring. Well, my goal today is to change that. I want to show you that this is a powerful, practical, and even fun tool that you can use in your work and life. Here's a fun fact to start us off. You already use logic models every day. Seriously, when you plan a road trip, you think, if we pack the car, and if we book a hotel, and if we follow the map, then we will have a great vacation. That if-then thinking is the heart of a logic model. It's simply a roadmap that shows how you'll get from where you are to where you want to be. So let's get ready to explore this roadmap together and become architects of social impact. We all share a common drive, don't we? We see a problem in our community, maybe it's literacy, food insecurity, or a lack of green space, and we want to fix it. We have a vision for a better world, but the path from that beautiful, clear vision to real, lasting impact can often feel foggy. It's like trying to navigate a dense forest without a compass. We're pouring all our energy, our passion, and our limited resources into something, but we're haunted by that one critical question. Are we actually making a difference, or are we just busy? This is the core challenge we all face. We need to build a clear, logical line from our actions to our outcomes. We need to be able to articulate the if-then story that explains how change will happen. And most importantly, we need to create a shared understanding among our team, our funders, and our community. This is where structure becomes our best friend, helping us cut through the fog. Now, a fun fact. The concept of formally evaluating social programs really began to take shape in the 1960s with the war on poverty in the United States. Before that, most social work was based on good intentions, but there was little emphasis on measuring whether those intentions actually led to results. The logic model is a direct descendant of that push for evidence and accountability. Before we lay a single brick in and out, we need a story. Every great program, every world-changing movement has an origin story. In our world, we call this the theory of change. It is the fundamental why behind everything you do. It's your grand narrative, the strategic compass for your entire initiative. It's more than just a mission statement. It's a causal story that explains how you believe change happens. It's a simple but incredibly powerful if-then story that goes one level deeper. It says, if we do these specific things, then we expect this specific change to happen because of this underlying belief or evidence. That because part is the secret sauce. It forces us to articulate the core beliefs that drive our work. Tails what happens, Atoki serves as a dynamic roadmap, adapting as programs evolve, ensuring strategic alignment and shared understanding. So, what makes a good theory of change story? It has 4 key chapters. First, the vision and goals. This is the happily ever after. What does the world look like if you succeed? Be specific. Second, the causal pathways. This is the plot of your story, the sequence of events and intermediate changes that need to happen to get to that happy ending. It's the chain of if-then connections. Third, and I believe this is the most crucial chapter, your assumptions. These are the ground rules, the things you believe to be true about the world, your audience, and your program. For example, an assumption might be our target audience has access to the internet, or our community partners will follow through on their commitments. Getting these on paper is like turning on the lights in a dark room. It shows you where the potential dangers are, and finally, the impact, the ultimate long-term change you hope to see in the world. This is your legacy. A fun fact. Psychologists talk about confirmation bias, our tendency to favor information that confirms our existing beliefs. Explicitly listing our assumptions in a theory of change is a powerful antidote to this. It forces us to question our beliefs and look for evidence that might challenge them. Let's look at a real-world story. This is a theory of change for a program tackling youth homelessness. The story is clear. If we provide a bundle of services, housing, job training, and mentorship, then youth will achieve a series of outcomes, ultimately becoming stable and self-sufficient. But now let's put on our detective hats and look at the key assumptions at the bottom. The program assumes that affordable housing units are actually available in the community. What if they aren't? The program also assumes local employers are willing to hire the youth. What if there's a major economic downturn? If these assumptions are wrong, the whole story, the entire causal pathway, falls apart. This is why making our assumptions explicit is so critical. It shows us where our plan is vulnerable and where we need to have a backup plan. Okay, so the theory of change is our grand, inspiring story. It's the why. It's the dream of climbing Mount Everest. Now we need to get practical. We need the how. This is where the logic model enters the scene as our trusted expedition guide. If the theory of change is the dream, the logic model is the detailed step-by-step, day-by-day plan for the climb. It lists every piece of gear you need, the specific expertise of your team, the route you'll follow, the daily milestones, and the contingency plans. It translates your big, beautiful why into a concrete, actionable how. Do you know? The famous explorer Roald Amundsen, the first person to reach the South Pole, was known for his meticulous planning. He created a detailed logic model for his expedition, planning everything from the type of dog sleds to the exact calorie count of his team's daily rations. His competitor, Robert Falcon Scott, was less detailed in his planning and tragically perished. Planning the how is just as important as dreaming the why. Let's open up that blueprint and look at the 5 core components. The best analogy I know is baking a cake. Inputs. These are your ingredients: flour, sugar, eggs, butter. For a program, it's your staff, your funding, your volunteers, your community partners, your office space. It's everything you have to work with. Activities, yeah, this is what you do. You mix the ingredients, you preheat the oven, you grease the pan. In a program, these are the workshops you run, the counseling sessions you provide, the brochures you print, the outreach you conduct. Outputs. These are the direct countable results of your activities. You baked 1 cake, you held 10 workshops for 50 people. It's the stuff you can easily count and report on. We did this many things for this many people. Outcomes. This is the change that happens because of your program. People loved the cake. It made them happy. After your workshop, people gained new knowledge, learned a new skill, changed their attitude, or improved their confidence. This is where the magic starts to happen. Impact. This is the long-term big picture change. Your amazing cake shop makes the whole neighborhood a happier, more connected place. Your program contributes to a healthier, more prosperous, and more equitable community. Fun fact: think of this as a chemical reaction. The inputs are your elements. The activities are the process of applying heat or a catalyst. The outputs are the immediate chemical compounds you form, but the outcomes and impact are the properties of those new compounds, their effect on the world around them. Let's look at a real-world story. This is a theory of change for a program tackling youth homelessness. The story is clear. If we provide a bundle of services, housing, job training, and mentorship, then youth will achieve a series of outcomes, ultimately becoming stable and self-sufficient. But now let's put on our detective hats and look at the key assumptions at the bottom. The program assumes that affordable housing units are actually available in the community. What if they aren't? The program also assumes local employers are willing to hire the youth. What if there's a major economic downturn? If these assumptions are wrong, the whole story, the entire causal pathway, falls apart. This is why making our assumptions explicit is so critical. It shows us where our plan is vulnerable and where we need to have a backup plan. Fun fact. Data from a 2023 University of Chicago study showed that a significant portion of youth homelessness is hidden, meaning young people are couch surfing or staying in unsafe situations rather than living on the streets. This highlights a key assumption. You have to be able to find and reach your target audience for any program to work. Have you ever been in a meeting where everyone is enthusiastically nodding in agreement, but you walk away with that sinking feeling that you all have a completely different idea of what you just agreed to do? A logic model is the ultimate cure for that. The process of creating one forces everyone to get hyper-specific. I love the analogy of giving the entire orchestra the same sheet of music before a concert. It ensures the violins, the trumpets, and the percussion are all playing the same tune, in the same key, at the same tempo. The result is a beautiful harmony instead of a dreadful chaos. It builds a truly shared vision and prevents so much frustration down the road. Do you know? A wolf pack is a perfect example of a natural logic model in action. They have a shared goal, survival, clear roles, inputs, coordinated hunting strategies, activities, and a clear outcome, a successful hunt and a fed pack. This level of alignment is why they are such effective predators. A logic model turns you and your team into program detectives. For every single if-then link in your chain, the model puts on its trench coat, squints its eyes, and asks you a simple question: where's the evidence? Show me the facts. What makes you so sure that this specific job training workshop will actually lead to that outcome of stable employment? It pushes you to look beyond your gut feelings and anecdotes. It encourages you to consult academic research, best practices from similar programs, and your own historical data. It helps you build a program on a foundation of solid evidence, not just wishful thinking. Fun fact: Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, was a physician. He based Holmes's method of deduction on the diagnostic process he used with patients. Observe everything, gather all the facts, and only then form a theory. A logic model encourages the same evidence-first approach. Let's talk about money and resources, because no one has an infinite supply. The inputs column of your logic model is your secret weapon for budgeting and resource allocation. It's not just a wish list of things you want, it's a direct logical justification for every dollar you spend and every hour your staff works. You can walk into a funder's office and say with confidence, we need this much funding for these specific staff members because they are essential for running these specific workshops, which our evidence shows leads to these specific positive outcomes for our community. It transforms your budget from a plea for money into a compelling, data-informed investment plan. Another fun fact: the concept of a formal government budget is relatively new. The first modern comprehensive national budget was introduced in Britain in the 1860s by William Gladstone. Before that, government spending was often chaotic and reactive. A logic model brings that same strategic discipline to your program. Now, let's step into the shoes of a busy policymaker or a foundation program officer. You have 100 proposals on your desk and they all sound wonderful. Which one do you fund? You fund the one you can understand, the one that has a clear, logical, and defensible plan. A logic model is the perfect one-page executive summary. It instantly shows that you've done your homework, that you understand the problem, and that you have a credible strategy for creating change. This is why so many government and foundation grants today require a logic model. It has become the universal language of accountability and strategic thinking in the social sector. One of the most famous examples of data-driven policy was the work of Dr. John Snow in 1854 London. By mapping cholera cases, he proved the disease was spread by a contaminated water pump on Broad Street. His clear visual logic model, the map, convinced officials to remove the pump handle, saving countless lives and changing public health forever. Okay, so we've meticulously planned our program, we've secured our funding, we've launched it, but how do we know if it's actually working? Here's where the logic model pulls off its mask and reveals its secret identity. It's not just a planning tool, it's also your custom-built guide to evaluation. It provides the perfect framework for measuring your success because you've already defined what success looks like at every single step of the way. Planning your evaluation becomes 10 times easier because you did the hard thinking up front. Just a relevant fact: during World War II, Allied intelligence services developed logic bombs, not real bombs, but pieces of misinformation designed to follow a logical path in their enemies' minds, leading them to a false conclusion. Your logic model is the opposite. It's a logic map designed to lead everyone on your team to a true and shared understanding of success. Think of your logic model as a treasure map for data. It tells you exactly where to dig to find the answers you're looking for. For the left side of the model, your inputs, activities, and outputs, you conduct a process evaluation. The map tells you to ask questions like, did we get the funding we needed? Did we deliver the workshops as we designed them? Did we reach the number of people we intended to? It's all about program fidelity. For the right side, your outcomes and impact, you conduct an outcome evaluation. Here, the map points to the X that marks the spot and tells you to ask the big questions. Did participants' knowledge actually increase? Did their behavior change? Did we contribute to reducing homelessness in our community? The map ensures you ask the right questions in the right places. Do you know, the earliest known world maps from ancient Babylonia weren't just geographical, they were cosmological, mixing real-world places with mythological realms. A good logic model is similar. It maps the real-world activities you will do while also mapping the future world you hope to create. To measure our progress on that map, we need a scoreboard. In the program world, our scoreboard uses key performance indicators or KPIs, but not all stats are created equal. The best indicators are SMART, specific, it's clear and unambiguous, measurable, you can quantify it, achievable, it's realistic given your resources, relevant, it actually matters to your program's goals. Time bound, it has a deadline, so instead of a vague goal like improve skills, a SMART indicator would be by December 31st, 75% of workshop participants will score 80% or higher on the final skills assessment. It's clear, it's measurable, and it tells you definitively if you're winning. The concept of using extensive statistics to measure performance was popularized in baseball by Bill James in the 1980s, a movement called sabermetrics, made famous by the book and movie Moneyball. He argued that traditional stats weren't always the most relevant indicators of success. Logic models bring that same critical thinking to social programs. Let's be honest, a spreadsheet full of numbers can be incredibly important, but it can also be incredibly boring. Your impact, however, is not boring. The logic model is the narrative structure that helps you transform your data into a compelling performance story. It helps you move from just reporting on what you did to celebrating what you achieved. What we did is the outputs. We conducted 50 financial literacy workshops. That's a task, but what we achieved is the outcomes. Because of those workshops, 20 families created a household budget for the first time and have collectively reduced their debt by $50,000. One is a task list, the other is a powerful story of change, hope, and empowerment. Which story do you think will inspire a donor to give again? Fun fact. When we hear a story, our brains release oxytocin, a neurochemical linked to empathy and connection. By framing your data as a story, you are literally creating a chemical connection with your audience, making them feel your impact, not just read about it. Sharing your logic model publicly on your website, in your annual report, is one of the most powerful statements of confidence you can make. It's like a great chef opening up their kitchen for everyone to see. It says, "We have nothing to hide. Here is our recipe for success. Here is our plan. We are proud of our thinking and we invite you to hold us accountable for the results." It builds incredible trust with your funders, your partners, and the very community you serve. It fundamentally shifts the focus of accountability from simply being busy and spending money to being effective and creating meaningful change. It's good to know the world's first Freedom of Information Act, which established the public's right to access government documents, was passed in Sweden in 1766. The principle is the same. Transparency is the bedrock of accountability and public trust. This is one of my final and most important points. A logic model is not a stone tablet handed down from the mountain. It is a living, breathing document. It's a whiteboard, not a tattoo. It is a set of hypotheses, and good scientists are always ready to revise their hypotheses based on new data. As you run your program, you will learn things. Some of your assumptions will be wrong. Some activities will be way more effective than others. Your logic model provides the perfect framework to capture that learning and adapt your strategy in real time. It fosters a learning culture, a cycle of continuous improvement that ensures your program gets better, smarter, and more impactful over time. Now, time for fun fact. In biology, adaptation is the key to survival. Organisms that can't adapt to changing environments go extinct. The same is true for social programs. A program that doesn't use data to learn and adapt is destined to become irrelevant and ineffective. A logic model is your program's tool for evolution. One very important role of logic model is to support continuous program improvement. Continuous program improvement thrives on the logic model's insights. It identifies bottlenecks, refines strategies, and fosters innovation. By pinpointing breakdowns in the theory of change, it guides resource reallocation and strategy refinement. Successful outcomes provide evidence for scaling and innovation, embedding the logic model into management processes for ongoing enhancement. At the end of the presentation, I must say, the logic model serves as a vital framework, transforming visionary goals into actionable strategies. It guides program design, evaluation, and adaptation, ensuring alignment with desired outcomes. By treating logic models as living documents, we can continuously refine our approaches, enhancing program effectiveness and impact. Embrace this tool to craft smarter policies and compelling narratives of success.